dear, you mustn't do it. It's not right. It's the Wilson Hermitage with a finder.
Hand me a towel. On the desk there. On second thought, you best not touch anything. You'll have all manner of bacteria about you.
Everything we've worked for, dear. Things we've put up with somehow. All so that you should have a fine career in London.
Instruments, Mr. Carney. Anesthetic. Carbolic spray. Or perhaps you've no desire to assist me in this particular operation.
Dr. Briscoe,
For pity's sake, Jamie. Can you not see it's the end if you go on like this? Sir Wilson's expressly forbidden you to open that poor girl's head. If you go against him now...
That girl's dying of a tumour of the brain and I've the skill to remove it. So leave me be, please. I'm going to operate.
Oh, my dear. Oh, Jamie. Oh, Jamie.
Come in.
Sergeant Cork and a gentleman, Sir Wilson.
I'll have them come in at once, please. And you might ask Dr. Briscoe to spare us a few moments.
Very good, Sir Wilson.
Oh, thank you. Sergeant Cork, good of you to come so promptly, sir.
Very little choice. The Commissioner called me personally. Told me it was a matter of some urgency, sir.
Oh, yes, I took the liberty of presuming on an old friendship. The Commissioner, Sir Edward, and I were at Marlborough together. I asked him to send round his best man. This is a most serious, not to say desperate affair, and will need very careful handling. This would be...
Mr. Marriott, sir, my assistant.
How do you do?
Sir?
Allow me to present Mr. Baxter, an old friend.
How are you, sir?
How do you do, sir? Please be seated. Now, Sergeant, we have had a most unhappy occurrence here at St. Wilfrid's. Dr. Briscoe, a young surgeon on my staff, has performed a serious operation without obtaining permission either from myself as his immediate superior or from the responsible relative, Mr. Baxter here.
I'm the father, you see. The patient in question is Alice Baxter, my daughter.
The difficulties are twofold. Firstly, a betrayal of professional ethics, but this is an internal matter. In due course, Dr. Briscoe will be called upon to answer before the General Medical Council. Secondly, however, and this is where you come in, it would appear there has been a breach of law.
What was the operation he performed exactly, without permission?
It was an operation for the removal of a tumour from a living brain.
Oh, a difficult operation, sir.
Impossible, sir.
Impossible?
Brain surgery is something that we medical men rarely, if ever, attempt. There are techniques available, but the likelihood of success is remote.
Damn it, why beat about the bush? The man's a charlatan. He operated on my daughter for his own satisfaction, to prove some high-flown theory. It's murder. It's tantamount to murder.
You mean the patient did not survive the operation?
Survived, so far.
I fail to understand why I've been sent for, sir.
So far, those are the operative words, Sergeant. Sepsis is what kills. The fatal action of gases in the air on wounds inflicted by the knife. It happens time and time again. We operate successfully, then the wound turns septic. It becomes poison, and we lose the patient. Why, even a simple amputation has its hidden dangers. But to attempt a brain operation, this is the height of irresponsibility. You see, it's not the operation, you understand that. It's these after effects, the danger of sepsis.
And in this case, sir?
Well, the patient has survived so far. Her chances of surviving the inevitable after effects are negligible.
That brings us back to what I said. Briscoe acted without authority. It's murder, whatever name you put to it.
You'll correct me if I'm wrong, Sir Wilson, but surely I remember reading in the paper that there had been a successful operation for the removal of brain tumour.
Yes. Rickman Godley, some years ago. Luck. We surgeons are sometimes extraordinarily lucky, Mr.
Marriott.
Mr. Marriott. But so long as I am principal of this hospital, I will not allow my surgeons to gamble with the lives of patients. Dr. Briscoe has defied my orders. He's a stubborn, unbalanced young man. Come in.
Sir, Dr. Briscoe, sir.
Well, woman.
He says he's rather busy at the moment and wishes to be excused attendance, Sir Wilson.
What?
If it's the police, he says could they kindly come and talk to him in his own room where he'd be pleased to offer them a glass of sherry. I'm sorry, Sir Wilson.
You see, Sergeant, you see the kind of undisciplined, self-opinionated...
Dr. Briscoe, I think you better come, sir. She seems... You gave the sedation, Carney?
Oh, yes.
Aye, we best increase the dose. We've no notion yet of the effect shock might produce.
This is nothing more than shock?
Why should it? Oh, take that mortuary expression off your face. You'll see worse reactions to surgery than this before you practice on your own account. There, it's passing. Tell me something, Carney. Are you happy working with me?
Happy?
I've seen the doubt take hold of you. My methods, eh? I merely wanted to say that while you have to spend your life in hospital, nobody insisted you should spend them at my feet. So if you want to go to Sir Wilson, ask for a change.
Excuse me.
Don't you see, Carney? Sometimes you have to break the rules to be an efficient doctor.
Dr. Briscoe?
The constabulary. So he sent for the law, just like I thought he would. Oh, you can't deny your policeman. Your anatomy says it for you.
So very obvious, eh? They tell me you've done a very foolish thing, Dr. Briscoe.
I prefer to say I've brought about a wise one.
You performed an operation without permission. Isn't that rather unethical?
A girl was dying. I could either write out her death certificate, my best copper plate, or heal her and take the consequences.
Oh, Sir Wilson Hermit isn't quite so sanguine about it.
Eh?
He's afraid your patient may still be in trouble from something called post-operative sepsis.
Sir Wilson said... And what should we chum up to, hunting for clues?
My name is Sergeant Cork. This is my sister, Mr. Merritt. I think the easiest thing for you to do will be to make a statement, sir.
Aye, I'll make a statement if you wish it. So you're interested in that mysterious piece of equipment, are you, Marriott? And well, you might be. The cynics call it Puffing Billy, but it's a locomotive of the future. One day it'll settle the hash of all the old fossils who've made up their minds surgery's gone as far as it ever will.
What's it for?
It sprays carbolic acid, an antiseptic. The simple truth is, you see, that sepsis isn't caused by gases in the air, as medical men have thought for generations. It's the result of minute organisms growing inside the wound and bringing about decomposition, just as in the fermentation of wine, say. Kill them off, and the patient survives.
And that's what the carbolic acid does. It kills the organisms.
Exactly.
Well, Rickman Godley must have known something about that. The first successful operation for tumour, 84, wasn't it?
That's a nicely informed colleague you've got there, Sergeant Cork. Aye, Rickman Godley, a great supporter of the antiseptic system. As a matter of fact, he's a nephew of the man who made the first discoveries in the field, Lister, of whom you may have heard. Lister.
If this is true, how does it explain Sir Wilson's attitude?
To him and his ilk, Lister, antisepsis, the whole box of dice is just so much twaddle. They thought the same about ether, vaccination before that. You came here to ask me why I performed an operation without permission. Gentlemen, if I could only begin to tell you. Virtually the whole world accepts the notion of antisepsis. Only in London, mark you, the home of so much medical progress, does the fog of prejudice persist. Out of my way. Alice, child. Morphia. Quickly, man, the needle's already there in the solution.
Oh.
What's the procedure, Sergeant?
I beg your pardon?
What do you want me to do? Come with you, put all I've said in writing?
And to certainly help. Then if there are any repercussions, we'd have an official statement we could refer to.
I see. Mr. Carney, I'm going to write down everything I want done. I'll leave the instructions on my desk. I'm to be called at once if you observe any change. Yes, sir. But there'll be no trouble of a serious nature, rest assured. terrible the way the evening's drawn in this time of year, ma'am. Could I get you a cup of tea, like?
No. No, thank you. Please, can't you tell me how much longer they're likely to keep Dr. Briscoe? It's been over an hour.
Oh, that ain't nothing to the CID, ma'am. Doctor, eh? Well, it ain't often we see a medical man round here. Oh, I wonder what he'd have to say about this old chest of mine, eh?
Chest?
Oh, gives fearful trouble come the fog. Oh, yes. What we wants round here's a regular sawbones, I reckon. Oh, no, miss, I'm sorry. I didn't mean...
Croaky.
It's funny, you know. Some you can't cheer up, no matter how hard you tries. Gentlemen, please, I've made a statement. I've answered your questions. I've been as obliging as I know how. Now, when may I go back to my hospital?
Just as soon as I'm convinced you know where you stand.
Oh, Lord.
It isn't as simple as you'd like us to believe. We've no charge against you at the moment, but if anything should happen to Ellis Baxter...
Damn it, nothing's going to.
The fact must be faced, sir. You performed a piece of surgery which, even according to your own testimony, very few doctors know anything about. You did it without proper authority. But the provisions of the Act are quite clear. To do an act which the accused knows, or, as a reasonable man must be taken to know, will be likely to kill or do grievous bodily harm to any human being within the Queen's peace.
You dare to quote that at me?
Why did you go against Sir Wilson Esbyle? I'd know was the personal motive.
I don't know.
Surely the fact that he forbade surgery should have made you think again, or did you decide you knew better than he did?
In this case, I know I knew better than Sir Wilson. He's a decade out of date.
He is in charge at the hospital, and you defied his instructions.
Mr. Rodway, precisely what are you trying to say to me?
I should strongly recommend you to seek legal advice, Dr. Briscoe.
I had to call you, Sir Wilson. The convulsions seem much worse this time.
You did right, Carney.
Well, Dr. Briscoe left these instructions, sir.
Thank you. I can do without advice from Dr. Briscoe. You took a grave risk, Carney, when you assisted in an unlawful operation. If it weren't for your youth and the fact that you were obligated at my direction to the doctor in question,
Oh, Sir Wilson,
perhaps you'll learn from this. Poor child. Before this, there might have been the slenderest hope. But what can we do for her now, Carney? What now?
Good morning.
Yes, Dr. Briscoe. She's dead.
It's impossible.
She's dead, I tell you, and you killed her. A charge for you to answer now, I should think. A crime to expiate.
I don't want to hurry you, Dr. Rice, but we are rather anxious for results on this one.
Time flies, death urges, knells toll, and heaven invites.
Sir?
Literature, a much more comforting pursuit than science. I wonder if I'd gone in for poetry, I'd be a happier man today. But a post-mortem is a post-mortem. Takes its allotted hour.
Yes, of course.
Not very pretty.
No.
Modern doctoring's a ghastly business. If you aren't killing off the living, you're keeping the dead from their well-earned rest. You don't have to stay here, you know.
Yes, I'll wait outside.
It's impossible. Septic poisoning of the wound. I thought I explained I took the most stringent precautions.
Whatever the cause, Doctor, she is dead. And Mr. Baxter's now pressing us for a murder charge.
Murder?
He's in his rights, I very much fear. The act again, you see.
You ignored Mr. Baxter. You defied Sir Wilson.
I had to. The only alternative would have been to leave that poor girl to a lingering death. I'm specialising, you see. I've studied my field. I know it precisely, exactly. Sir Wilson resents specialisation. He's the pillar of respectable practice, the old-fashioned general surgeon.
Has there always been this tension between you and Sir Wilson?
Yes. Well, sort of. We clashed. We were bound to do so.
The point is, I now have to warn you formally of the possibility of a capital charge. Once we get the post-mortem report...
Look, why can't I be present at that?
I tried to explain to you.
I'm going to be in terrible trouble. You keep telling me. You won't let me see for myself how Alice Baxter died.
He can't do any harm, sir. After all, he's a right to know. She was his patient, you know.
Well, perhaps in view of the unusual circumstances.
Thank heavens.
Now, there's something I'd like to know first.
What's that?
When I came to see you at the hospital, your patient seemed, disturbed, and you gave some notes to your assistant.
Well, of course, what I suspected was a minor secondary infection, nothing to do with the operation.
You are now saying that this secondary infection might have killed her?
No! You leave things be after a major operation unless there's a dire necessity. I was waiting for the symptoms to reveal themselves more clearly. When I got back to the hospital from here, they'd passed away altogether. I concluded it had merely been a clinical reaction and did nothing.
And when you left here, you went straight back to the hospital?
Yes.
And you remained there?
Aye, until 2 o'clock in the morning. When young Carney came in, I went home for some sleep. Why?
And you left Carney in charge?
Aye. I was sure we were over the hill. It was merely a question of Miss Baxter gathering strength.
I see. You care to wait outside for a moment or so, Doctor? Arrange for you to be taken to the mortuary. In the meantime, if you...
Corky?
Don't listen to worry, Charlie. No revelation from on high. I'm just puzzled, that's all.
What about? The post-mortem report shows the girl died as a result of the operation. We charged Dr. Briscoe. We've no choice.
Nobody seemed so certain before that she wouldn't die. Then there's this antagonism between him and Sir Wilson.
Sounds like a clash of youth and age to me.
It's a theory I don't believe. It goes deeper than that. After all, Sir Wilson seems so triumphant.
He's been proved right.
I know, but he called the commissioner in before the girl died, remember? He seemed so anxious to have Dr. Briscoe charged as a murderer. I'd like to go and see Sir Wilson again.
Ah. Well, I've no objection to doing that, always provided, of course, you can find the time.
The time?
Yes, these Belgravia robberies, Corky, they're beginning to make a pattern, and poor old Gardner's getting nowhere with them.
Look, Charlie.
Now, look, in my opinion, it is not a profession, as we've been thinking up to now. Sit down, Corky, sit down. Will you? You see, if it was a professional, we should by now have found a trademark. Now, in my opinion, Corky...
Oh, what's the delay? Sergeant Cork said I might be present at the post-mortem. Can you tell me when he's likely to make the arrangements?
Well, I'm sure the sergeant won't be with the superintendent much longer, sir.
Oh, they drive you mad, Mary, mad. Questions, waiting about.
They mean to arrest you now, don't they, Jamie?
Aye, they've got a knife into me. There's nothing shorter than that.
You don't believe poor Alice's death was anything to do with you. You're very sure of yourself, aren't you, Jamie?
Sure.
You've always got to be right. Well, poor Alice Baxter's dead. And that's one thing you can be sure of beyond any doubt.
Mary, I wanted to save her. That's why I operated.
You also wanted to triumph. You needed to prove that you were right and Sir Wilson was wrong. That poor girl meant nothing to you. She was just a pawn in a dreadful game between you and Sir Wilson. If she had lived, how you would have crowed.
No, Mary.
Jamie, all your life, You've hit out and cursed at anyone who happened to look at the world in a different way from you. From the very beginning, you refused to work with Sir Wilson.
I refused to follow his antiquated methods of surgery.
He's an influential man, Jamie. And yet you went out of your way to quarrel and argue with him.
Mary, I didn't argue with Sir Wilson because it gave me pleasure. No, this is a question of principle on which there can be no compromise. Sir Wilson refuses to face what's new in medicine.
Why should he do
I
that?
don't know. I do know he's a strange, proud man. But he's so prejudiced. His mind's so closed to any new ideas. I sometimes wonder whether he was sick.
But he's won, Jamie. And you're ruined. We're ruined. When I think of all that we went through while you studied, the poverty, the sheer grinding poverty.
I'm sorry, my dear. I've asked you to bear a great deal. I've not always taken the trouble to explain why.
And you still believe that you were right, Jamie? Even now, you still believe that?
Yes.
We've come through a great deal together. I expect we'll come through this.
Take a pair of sparkling eyes. Take a pair of ruby lips. Yes, Marion. Just finished. May I please space to write my report?
I just had a message from Sergeant Cork, Dr. Rice, on the telephone.
Telephone. Ah, natural wonders, the magic of physics. I wonder if I should have been happier as an inventor.
Well, it seems that Dr. Briscoe is anxious to come down here and consider the findings for himself. I take it you have no objection.
Briscoe? You mean the man who...
Yes.
Answer me this, Marriott, if you can. A riddle. Why should a man dedicated to modern surgical methods use an irregular, crude lesion to open up his operating area?
I'm sorry?
The cut is a deal less subtle than I should have thought it needed to be. Most of these fellows nowadays are very particular about their techniques, even design their own instruments.
Well, that's exactly what Dr. Briscoe's doing.
And he obviously hasn't learned to use them properly. I would have expected a modern surgeon to have done a great deal better. This is quite competent, of course.
Ah, Dr. Briscoe.
The old enemy, as you see, septic poisoning.
But it's impossible. How did it happen, man?
My good fellow, it's no use asking me that.
I was scrupulously clean. She had the protection of a carbolic spray.
Oh, Alice's right, I see. The germ theory. I'm deeply sorry, Briscoe. A terrible disappointment for you, I'm sure. But my report must make no doubt. Death from post-operative sepsis.
Come in.
Sergeant Cork, Sir Wilson.
Very good. Your pardon, Sergeant. I'm a man of precise habits. Every day at this time, half an hour's technical reading. Like the lawyer, like the policeman, perhaps. The modern surgeon is no better than his information.
I see by the Lancet that Dr. Lister has received formal support for his theory on antisepsis from the Johns Hopkins University in the United States, Sir Wilson.
The Lancet.
As you say yourself, even a policeman is no better than his information.
In what way may I assist you, Sergeant Cork? I'm a very busy man. Alice Baxter died of post-operative sepsis. So much for Lister and his innovations, I imagine.
Well, we have no case against Dr. Briscoe unless we can show that he should have known that his surgery would claim the life of his patient.
And you come to me for a comment on that?
If you find yourself in a position to give one, sir.
Medical men in America may make what judgments they will. But for my part, even if antisepsis were proved 1,000 times, it would still be no excuse for new and extremely dubious operations. The advanced, progressive school of surgery might well take solemn warning from what has happened in this hospital. The life of a young and innocent girl has been sacrificed to one man's ambition.
What exactly happened, sir, the night Alice Baxter died?
As far as I was concerned, Well, Miss Baxter had been left entirely in Dr. Briscoe's care. That is the etiquette of the thing. Then, at about 3 in the morning it would have been, Mr. Carney came to my quarters.
Mr. Carney, that's Dr. Briscoe's assistant.
That is correct. Dr. Briscoe had left certain instructions before he went away for the night, but Mr. Carney was in great agitation of mind. This prescribed sedation was having little or no effect. I went with him to Dr. Briscoe's ward, and there observed from the patient's demeanor only what I had feared. Sepsis had begun.
Why didn't you send for Dr. Briscoe, sir?
Because by that time the daughter of an old friend was dying. Do you think I wanted more arguments over a deathbed? Really, Sergeant, I fail to see why you should suspect me of harboring ill feelings against Dr. Briscoe. I took him onto my staff here as an act of calculated kindness. Had I listened to the voice of my instincts...
Please, go on, Sir Wilson.
There was little more I could do to improve matters. I did what I could to relieve the awareness of pain. I sent for the girl's father. After I had inspected the incision...
Inspected?
Well, of course one must do that, even when all seems lost.
Did your inspection reveal anything wrong?
Why do you say that?
Dr. Briscoe is worried about the possibility of a post-operative infection. Now, if by any chance...
A post-operative infection. You're becoming very familiar in an alien world, Sergeant Cork. Dr. Briscoe's surgery was nigh faultless. You won't put me into the position of condemning him on all counts, thereby representing him to the world at large as a man maligned by authority and in understandable rebellion against it. But technical perfection is not enough when an operation is bound to fail because of other reasons. Dr. Briscoe defied my instructions, and he must be made to pay for his indiscipline. Perhaps Lister and his followers will learn from the resultant publicity that they do not know everything.
Is this the purpose of the exercise, sir?
I beg your pardon?
By proving Dr. Briscoe to be wrong, you weaken the school of medicine which he represents and strengthen your own position. Is it politics? The struggle for power?
I wish to hear no more of this matter. Dr. Briscoe is guilty of a crime against humanity and his fellow surgeons. I intend to see that he answers for it at the medical inquiry. I have no other motives in this matter. Until then, kindly remember that I am engaged upon difficult and important work, Sergeant Cork.
Sir.
Did the post-mortem reveal anything new?
Dr. Rice was worried about the wound.
Because he disagreed with our use of the carbonic spray.
No, something to do with the kind of lesion used in performing the operation. At the post-mortem, Dr. Rice thought it was, well, irregular was the expression he employed. I'm not sure what that means exactly.
No, nor am I. But a fatuous thing to say. Well, it isn't here, you see.
Oh, where's it gone? A case of instruments doesn't simply disappear.
Mrs. Briscoe.
Mr. Carney.
Oh, this is Mr. Marriott, from the police.
Well, perhaps you can help us, Mrs. Briscoe. Your husband's instrument case has gone astray, and I'd like to find it. If by any chance he took it home.
No, there's nothing like that at home. Some letters, that's all. I came to collect some personal items. Mr. Marriott, please. Do the police think my husband's guilty?
Well, I'm not in a position to speak officially, but if you want an outsider's opinion, I don't think he is. His patient shouldn't have died. Your husband took all possible precautions against septic poisoning. Why, the number of successes surgeons have had using the carbolic spray.
No, that isn't true. Well, you mustn't be taken in by the statistics. It's the skill of the surgeon that counts in a major operation, nothing else. Why else do you think I called for Sir Wilson the night Alice Baxter died, instead of going back for Dr. Briscoe? Sir Wilson is a man of enormous experience. It was wrong to go against him in the first place. Dr. Briscoe made a terrible mistake. He killed Alice Baxter.
Oh, Sir Wilson told me he inspected the incision. He could find nothing to complain of. Yet you were worried about the possibility of another infection. There's another thing that Merritt's working on now, the case of instruments missing from the hospital. You've no idea where they could be.
None whatever.
Can't help feeling there's a curtain which hasn't been drawn aside in this business. One thing I should tell you, Dr. Briscoe. When you appoint your defense counsel, be absolutely sure...
Defense? But I'm guilty, Sergeant Cork. It's my mistake, my criminal responsibility. And the world will have its tithe of me for that. You can wait and see.
Yep. Come in.
John Alloy Side. No. John...
Chalky, what is it, lad?
There was a gentleman outside,
What
sir.
is this hour?
John L...
Give it me, will you? John Aloysius Gagan, barrister at law... Gagan?
What's wrong?
What do you mean you've never heard of Gagan? Most important criminal law in the country.
But he just gave me his card, sir.
What's he doing here? Why is Gagan descended from the heights?
Because Gagan has business on the plains. And as the plains will not come to Gagan, Corky, I bow my head.
Gagan, I incline mine.
Well, now that respect has been properly paid, this must be Dr. Briscoe.
Could I get you a cup of tea, like?
A little hock and seltzer. Well, now, I am acquainted with the major facts of the case, the nature of the disease, the attitude of the accusers, the results of the post-mortem. All this is formidable. But then that which is formidable is that upon which in the past Gagan has been said to thrive. Have no fears, Dr. Briscoe, and be dumb. From now on, you are the Sphinx, and Gagan is your secret. Well, now, the hearing is set for next Thursday.
Just a moment. Do you mean, have you come here to...
But of course. My dear Cork, Dr. Briscoe is a disciple of the celebrated Lister. I must defend him. There are far too few prophets left nowadays. Well, now.
Just a moment. Hock and seltzer, you said. I'll see what I can find.
Oh, Corky.
Yeah?
Entrance all right.
Beautifully timed. Glad you came.
Glad you asked me. Look, this fella doesn't seem too lively. Will he fight?
He'll fight. What, with you behind him? He'll fight.
Thank you, gentlemen. With your permission, we will begin. Now, as you are aware, this is not a court of law. We are met here as members of the same professional body to consider the conduct of a colleague whose actions as a doctor of medicine have been called into question. We have no power to punish or acquit, strictly speaking. We can, if we find the evidence against our colleague probable, strike him from the register so that he may no longer practice as a physician or surgeon. We can, on the other hand, free him of all censure before his fellows and state publicly that he is guilty in our eyes of no transgression of ethics. Now, is the defendant Dr. James Alistair Briscoe present?
By your leave, Sir George Paydale. I am John Gagan, barrister at law. I have here a written authority from the defendant to represent him in this action and any other that may be forthcoming.
Thank you, Mr. Gagan. That seems to be in order. Now, who presents the case against Dr. Briscoe?
By your leave, sir, Benjamin Joseph, Doctor of Medicine, Bachelor of Law. I have, at the request of this council, made a study of the relevant evidence and am now prepared to present it to this hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. Not too much formality, gentlemen. Nobody is under oath at an inquiry of this description. Our simple purpose is to find out the facts. And we may as well achieve our objective by being as frank as we can.
Yes, but what exactly do you mean by irregular, Dr. Rice?
My dear Marriott, it was simply an expression. I have no doubt that the lesion Dr. Briscoe used in order to perform his surgery was perfectly in order. On the other hand...
Now, look here, Dr. Briscoe didn't remark on anything himself, did he, when he came for the post-mortem?
No, but the wound was open again by that time. There couldn't have been much to observe. What do you say?
Dr. Rice, you're there. They'd like you in now.
Or to open the batting?
Yes, post-mortem evidence, sir.
Poor fellow. I honestly wish there was something I could say to help him. A policeman, eh? Now, there's a trade that could fulfill a man, a sort of social head prefect. I was happy at school.
Well, then?
No clearer on that score. Dr. Rice is as puzzled as we are. He'll be staying here from now on.
Well, Dr. Briscoe on a charge. It has to be an escort. If you see Charlie Rodway, tell him I'm investigating those robberies in Belgravia, will you?
What if we're barking up the wrong tree about this, Sergeant? I mean, why do we have to take it for granted?
I'm taking nothing for granted, but a case of instruments doesn't disappear from a hospital without any reason. I want you to go there and find out why. Gagan's depending on them.
Gagan?
He's got an extraordinary reading of the case if he can just demonstrate Nose to the grindstone there.
And then you observed the presence of advanced sepsis and declared this to be the cause of death.
I did.
Now, as to the incision itself.
Oh, that was all in order. I had occasion to mention to certain other people afterwards that I thought the lesion employed a little primitive.
Primitive?
It was simply an opinion, sir. The actual operative work was beyond reproach, indeed a credit from the technical point of view. I wish I were capable of such surgery.
Thank you, Dr. Rice.
Do you wish to ask any questions, Mr. Gagan?
I do, Sir George. Well, now, death as a result of sepsis, Dr. Rice. Now, as it happens, this concerns me greatly, and I feel that this hearing should be favoured with a little more detail. For instance, can you tell us how sepsis occurs?
Well, yes, if it's necessary. Sepsis is a type of putrefaction of tissue which occurs after lesion. There are gases in the air which react with greater or less...
Gases? Are you aware, Doctor, that this is only one explanation of the phenomenon? Has it eluded your scholarly attention that presently in medical circles there are other opinions, indeed supported studies that maintain...
Sir George, if you please, is any of this relevant?
I must confess, Mr. Gagan, that the significance of your question at this time somewhat eludes me. It would rather seem that you're anxious to venture on the troubled waters of contemporary medical debate. Unless you have a reason for this line of inquiry...
I believe I have every reason, sir. The guilt or innocence of my client turns ultimately on whether or not he was justified in taking the risk he did. It will be our submission that he was justified and took full precautions to preserve the life of his patient and to prevent the occurrence of sepsis.
But the patient is dead, as we have just heard, from the effects of sepsis.
Then it will be our further submission that this sepsis proceeded from an outside cause, nothing to do with Dr. Briscoe. Thank you, Dr. Rice. No further clarifications at the moment.
I call Mr. Charles Baxter.
For the Lord's sake, what are you trying to do? That man called my surgery primitive. If you'd really...
No. Peace, Dr. Briscoe. Look, Gagan fights your battle for you. Here, occupy yourself to while away the time. Draw, perhaps.
Draw?
Aye, the exact incision you used when you performed the operation.
There's a chance. Look, Merritt's gone along to the hospital. But whether or not he can turn up with the evidence you're banking on...
Oh, have no fears for Gagan. He's a fine seat on a horse, blooded from the beginning. When a man covets the brush, Sergeant, he must be first out after the fox.
Mr. Marriott, do you still believe my husband to be innocent of murder?
Me?
You said so the last time we met.
Well, yes.
For the inquiry, then, this lawyer, Gagan, does he really think he can do something to save Jamie?
Mrs. Briscoe, what is this? Last time we spoke, I was under the impression...
Mr. Marriott, I tried to go away, but I couldn't leave him. Not to that stupid pride that'll hang him unless someone does something to help. Surely there's got to be a mistake. It just can't be Jamie's fault that that poor girl died.
He seems to think so. He is anxious that we find the instrument case, though.
Instrument case?
It's your husband's. It went astray, remember? I just about turned this hospital upside down without coming across it. Where'd you get this?
I came across it a short while ago. You see, after we'd spoken about Jamie and the operation...
Where, Mrs. Briscoe?
With the others.
What is your name, please?
I am Joseph Lister. Sir George, I fear I must protest once more, even before this witness opens his mouth. I have no doubt that we are all very well aware of this gentleman's greatness.
And that is precisely why, with the permission of the board, I venture to call him. Gentlemen, we have heard the case against Dr. Briscoe. Now, Mr. Baxter says that never at any time did he give permission for the operation on his daughter. Well, that is so. Sir Wilson Hermitage tells us that he forbade surgery. That also we admit. But what I wish to establish now is that Dr. Briscoe, whilst acting outside his competence, still observed such operative procedures as to render the death of his patient from sepsis virtually impossible. This obviously calls into consideration the whole antiseptic system.
But this is no defense. And if it were, What guarantee have we that Dr. Briscoe actually took heed of the principles of antisepsis?
There will be testimony. Dr. Briscoe was assisted at the operation by a Mr. Carney, a student surgeon at St. Wilfrid's Hospital. In due course, I will call his evidence as to method.
Gentlemen, thank you for your arguments, and I see relevance in both of them. However, I'm more swayed by the fact that a man of the eminence of Sir Joseph Lister should choose to come to this inquiry and give evidence. It would be churlish on our part not to hear him.
Thank you, Sir George.
Now, Sir Joseph, are you acquainted with the defendant, Dr. James Briscoe?
I am not.
But you are aware that he is a devoted disciple of your antiseptic system.
As you explained to me yourself, Mr. Gagan, in a letter sent 3 days ago, I am honored.
Could you please tell us something about antisepsis? It is, I believe, your discovery.
Oh, that isn't quite correct. I'm indebted in the first place to Pasteur, who some years ago established that putrefaction, a decomposition, if you will, is a species of fermentation. I decided to apply this new knowledge, at least theoretically.
Sergeant, I think we've finally seen the wood for the trees. Look.
The instrument case?
Yes, found by Mrs. Baxter here on a rubbish dump. What? The hospital dump. But it's not as simple as that. I spoke to the porters in charge of disposal, and they told me... Now, look, I took some notes. Could you get these to Gagan?
Let me see them first, I believe.
But he needs them, Sergeant. I mean, this puts an entirely different complexion on things.
Oh, I make no doubt of it, sir. Antisepsis is no longer mere theory. It is proven medical fact. I have had some difficulty, it's true, in persuading the surgeons of this great city to accept what the bulk of the rest of the world takes for granted. But this is a temporary state of affairs, I feel sure.
Indeed, Sir Joseph. And isn't it a fact that due to the protection afforded by antisepsis, many operations that previously seemed impossible have now entered the realms of feasibility?
Yes, we're doing all sorts of unlikely things every day, thank God. Only last year I was treating a patient with a fractured patella, unable to move his knee. I decided to open the joint and wire the broken parts. Now, success in this sort of operation, even as little as 5 years ago...
A lucky accident, pure chance.
Really, Sir Wilson?
Upon my soul, I can stand for this self-assertion no longer. I too have had my extraordinary successes as a surgeon. We all of us have. But are we to make precedents on a basis of good fortune? Have we so little humility?
Really, I must insist.
And I object in the strongest possible terms to the so-called testimony being put before us at this moment. Really, I should have thought better of this council than it would allow its court of inquiry to be made a platform for undisguised huckstering.
Oh, huckstering. Well, Sir Wilson, I very much regret that this is not the opportunity for you to speak your mind. No doubt we will be able to remedy that in time. Who knows? But I should be very ashamed to feel that anyone else in this room placed this interpretation upon Sir Joseph Lister's presence here today. Now, sir, not just because of what has been said, but because of what you have already shown him. Oh, if I might crave your indulgence, Sir George. The drawing. Quick, the sketch you made of the incision of the operation.
I think you'd better explain, Mr. Gagan.
Just one more moment, Sir George. Well, Sir Joseph, the board has already expressed the gratitude we all feel towards you today for your presence here. Now, unless my learned colleague has any questions, I have elicited the information I require.
No, I have no questions.
Then we need detain you no longer, Sir Joseph, and once again, my warmest thanks.
Not at all, Sir George. A pleasure. Good luck, young man.
And now, with the permission of the board, I should like to recall to the stand Sir Wilson Hermitage.
Is this necessary? Really, Sir George, the eccentric behavior exhibited by defense throughout this...
I can promise you no further eccentricity, Dr. Joseph. In its place now, I can only offer you the truth.
Sir Wilson Hermitage, please.
Now, Sir Wilson, there are certain new matters that have arisen about which I wish to speak to you, but before we go on, I'd like to look back on a portion of your evidence. I wonder if you'll tell us once again exactly what happened when you went to Miss Baxter on the night that she died.
But I have already described that, and at some length.
Once more, if you don't mind.
Very well. It was 3 in the morning. I was alone in my quarters when Mr. Carney came to me, saying that he was worried about the patient's condition. I went with him to Dr. Briscoe's rooms, and there observed that the patient was indeed in some distress. Her whole body was racked with feverish shudders. I suspected the presence of rigor.
Which is, in layman's terms?
A condition of partial seizure due to the heart having to work harder against poisons in the blood. The inevitable accompaniment of sepsis.
And were you aware that Dr. Briscoe had already observed these same symptoms in his patient earlier to a lesser degree, and had concluded that these symptoms were nothing but a secondary infection? An infection, in other words, not connected with the operative procedures. Why didn't you send for Dr. Briscoe, I wonder?
Because...
I understand he had left orders that he was to be called if the symptoms developed.
There was no point. Great heavens, what kind of fool do you take me for? I can recognize the gravity or otherwise of a patient's condition. I can tell when simple treatment would solve things.
Then at least you could have seen if there was a secondary infection. Was there, Sir Wilson?
What?
Come now, sir. You said in your preceding evidence that you inspected the incision. Now, I take it that you're a man of experience. You wouldn't allow a little detail like that to escape you. Was there a secondary infection? Or was Dr. Briscoe's assessment of Miss Baxter's condition entirely futile?
Well, Sir Wilson, it seems a perfectly reasonable question to me.
No matter. Now, gentlemen, I have here an instrument case belonging to my client. These instruments were designed by him in the course of his surgery, and therefore are identifiable as belonging to him. Sir Wilson, are you aware that less than an hour ago, this case and its contents were discovered on a rubbish dump at St. Wilfrid's Hospital? Well, what of it? Then you did know about them. Really, Well, of course you knew. Because according to my informant, the hospital porter, when questioned, stated that you had told him to get rid of these at all costs.
Well, yes. They were useless anyway. I didn't want them in my hospital anymore. Damn folly. Brain surgery is an impossibility at the present time. An impossibility, did you hear? Briscoe killed that girl as surely as though he'd stuck a knife through her heart. They were the tools of a murderer.
Hardly yours to dispose of.
I took them from his room that night.
Because they failed you, as you now maintain they failed him.
What did you say?
The real reason that you tried to dispose of those instruments was because you had grown to hate them. You tried to use them.
No.
But the subtlety of their design defeated you. You couldn't use them as skillfully as you'd hoped to.
How dare you say these things?
Did you operate, Sir Wilson? On your honor as a man of medicine. The truth, sir.
Very well. I operated in a last attempt to save Alice Baxter's life. Well, for pity's sake, what else could I do? Secondary infection. Briscoe could accomplish nothing. His contribution had been to begin this process of sepsis.
No! There was no sign of genuine sepsis at that stage.
Not had these interruptions.
Look, I must...
With respect, with respect, sir, may I request that Mr. Carney be asked to tell what exactly did happen on the night Alice Baxter died.
Well, I suppose... Well, it's very irregular, but under the circumstances.
Thank you, Sir George.
Mr. Wilson decided to operate on Miss Baxter to check the effects of secondary infection. Well, that meant opening the lesion again. And he found it difficult. But you see, the point is, he didn't use any precautions. I suggested to him that he might use the carbolic spray, just like Dr. Briscoe had done, but he wouldn't have that. He said that antisepsis was nonsense, that Lister was a great fool. But there was no sign of sepsis within the operation at that stage. Well, I can only conclude as a result that since he wouldn't use the spray...
Please, Sir George, I turn to you. These are wild accusations, sir. Antisepsis is a theory, nothing more. There must be years more research before... It's gases in the air, I tell you. I didn't kill Alice Baxter. Briscoe did with his new ideas, his experimental surgery. For pity's sake, please.
Must be almost over, Mrs. Briscoe. Baxter could still press certain charges in theory, but I think that's highly unlikely now.
Thank heaven. Poor Sir Wilson. What'll happen to him now?
Well, that'll be a matter for his colleagues.
Oh, well, always go after the fox. Don't wait on the rest of the field.
Mr. Gagan, I can't begin to tell you how grateful I am.
Oh, no, not to me, young man. It was Cork.
Then I give you my thanks, Sergeant.
I wouldn't have been there at all only for him.
You mean that meeting in your office? It was all Sergeant, you seem to have supported me throughout.
I enjoyed it. Well, gentlemen, Gagan always travels in the best of style. My carriage rests without, and I'm proceeding towards the city. May I assist anyone?
You couldn't go by way of Belgravia, I suppose, could you?
Belgravia? Oh, well, that means taking a long way round. Oh, well, we'd better move off post-haste.